everything, bro. Make sure y'all good. Of course, I'm not bald headed. I just got the Wukong cut. The Wukong cut. Y'all don't know about it? Hey, I can't tell you. But I'll throw this damn thing on, this bonnet. Y'all keep bullying me, but I want to make a quick video, bro. This is about living at... This ain't my place. I ain't renting. I'm renting from my parents' house, basically. Like, literally. And I just wanted to make a video, bro, about, you know, some of us is going through inflation. My job is literally letting us go. My job is even my manager, my new manager, because they fired the old one. Sorry. They fired the old one, but they're going through inflation, and literally none of this stuff is going right, man. I'm telling you, this is not going right, and it's going worse. Y'all be safe, though. I almost forgot, man. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what y'all are going through. Are you living with your parents? Or I'm curious, because how y'all surviving? Because unless I'm not working hard enough, or y'all working better. Because their job is not easy, man. But let me know down below.
Hey, mama. Hey, daddy. This Janelle. I know y'all here because I see y'all cars out here in the driveway. I just want to let y'all know that I'm ready to stay in a child's place. So can I please move back in? I promise to do my chores. Like, I'm tired of being an adult. Mama, daddy, answer the door, please. I know y'all in there. I know y'all hear me. That's fine. I'll just wait in the car till y'all come to the door.
Not gonna lie to you, watching that, bruh, she look like she's in her 50s. What's she doing begging her parents to come back home? I know the inflation is hitting, but damn, is it that bad? Let me know in the comments.
More and more people are now moving back home with their parents in order to save money. Realtor.com surveyed people who plan to buy a home in the next year. They found 29% of people surveyed already moved back. Another 22% would consider moving back home with their parents.
See, this is a real analytics that a lot of us are not getting shared. Literally, a lot of people are moving back home, whether you're 16 or even in your 50s. People are moving back home with their parents.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, just move home. Just move back home. I'm 29 years old. 29 years old. I just moved from living in the city by myself, Chicago, to the suburbs in my parents' house. And my parents don't have a huge, big, fancy house. You know, we're not rich or anything like that. But to have the opportunity to live at home and not be so stressed out all the time about paying $2,000 a month in rent, priceless. It's priceless. Do you guys know how much money I have now? How many things I can do? Okay, I could go get Botox anytime I want. I could buy a house in 2 years if I want.
See, I feel her on that one, man. Like, literally, some stuff ain't worth it. Especially Chicago. I know she must have been through it out there. Because Chicago, like, of all places...
When you're 39 years old and have to move in back with your parents and you live in California and real estate home prices are through the roof. And this is just 1/3 of their front yard. This piece right here is looking real nice. Real guest house nice.
Ooh, this is nice. Girl, this all this is you right here? Okay.
See, watching that just tells you how some jobs are. Like, literally, she's able to afford a nice place like that. What y'all think in the comments?
I'm turning 29 this year and I'm moving back in with my parents. Let's talk about it. I've been living completely on my own since I turned 25. No roommates for the last 4 years. Really be able to appreciate things a little differently when you have to afford everything on your own. Now, don't get me wrong, I can afford living on my own, but the closer I get to 30, the more and more I want to stop renting and start owning. Let's be honest, in this economy, that is not the easiest thing. Paying rent completely on your own while simultaneously trying to save up for a down payment on a house simply just is not working for me. Now, is it possible? Sure. But my thought is if I move in with my parents for the next year and save up the $1,500 I've been paying for rent every month, I will be able to buy a house hopefully by the time I'm 30. I wanted to kind of destigmatize that because I remember when I was in my early 20s being so desperate to move out of my parents' house, and everybody always told me, like, girl, stay as long as you possibly can. It's brutal out in the real world. But it's one of those things that no matter how many people told me, I don't think I was really going to understand until I actually experienced it myself. Again, don't get me wrong. I do think living alone is something everyone should experience. It's so freeing. It really gives you such a sense of self and independence. It's been great for my personal development and making me appreciate things completely differently. I'm actually gonna really miss this chapter of life. Even though at first I felt a little bit like I was going backwards in life by moving back in with my parents, I'm starting to see it as such a blessing that I have the relationship with them that I do, to where this even is an option for me and I can fast track those savings by doing this with them. So I'm gonna bring you guys along with me as a 29-year-old who's moving back with her parents to hopefully try to afford a house in this economy.
See, to be 29 and she's all like, okay, if I save $1,500, I can have enough to buy a house. Hopefully she figured it out, because, bruh, houses, just to afford a house and be in an apartment is not realistic no more.
Morning guys, I'm just in the car really quickly doing my makeup before I go to work because I never have time in the mornings. Little update, so I viewed the property on Saturday and it was beautiful, like gorgeous house, like the decor inside was lovely, everything was perfect, good location. So I put an offer in, you know, with what's online, on Rightmove. I put the offer in, the asking price. So they've come back and said they've had bigger offers coming in. So have a think over the weekend and let me know what you want to do. So I had a little think, and I can afford to put more money in, but I don't want to be having a huge mortgage and doing it, you know, with not as much savings behind me as I'd like to. I've got savings, but I've got not enough to probably do this right now. So the other option is my mum has kindly offered to have me back at their house with my daughter. Obviously she'll be half with me, half with her dad, so it's not going to be too full on, but I know people do this and people go back to mum and dad's to save money to buy a house. I know people do this, but like, I think my decision has been made. I think it's quite clear what the right thing to do is. Like, I could be saving £2,000 a month if I did this, and no one ever gets this opportunity, like, to do this if it wasn't for moving back in with mum and dad. So a part of me is just like, just do it, Eloise. Like, it's going to be a lot, but just think of like the long-term goal, like getting that house. So yeah, what, you know, if people who've done this, who've moved back in, like, what's it like, you know, like, did you save enough money and then get your dream home? Like, I want to hear positive, like, stories about this. So yeah, like, I think that's the right thing to do, you know, money-wise, and just having money behind me, like, when I come to buy my house, having savings behind me and just not being, like, struggling, you know. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, moving back in mum and dad, and yeah, let me know what you think.
And yeah, just from seeing that's facts, man. That tells you these jobs, they're not taking us as serious as we should be taken. And that just tells you why we're stressing, losing our hair and stuff. Like, this job is stressful as hell. And then they wonder why we can't afford stuff. But let me show you more. Don't forget, like and subscribe and comment down below.
So if you're living at home, here's a tip. I see so many people moving back in with their parents, and I'm like, y'all, I never left. I did an internship in Florida, came back, I knew this was home. You do this short-term, thing for a long-term investment in the end, right? And I think to myself, I have forever to have my home and my peace and my sanity. That's longevity. Do this for now. So the tip is, you know your parent. Try to be one step ahead of them. So because I'm home, I'm saving tons of money. Whether it's mom or dad, once a month, just do something nice. And it can be so simple. And this will just decrease the arguments and the nagging and the things, that go on in the day-to-day household when you're living with your parents. Whenever you go somewhere, you ask, does anybody need anything? And granted, you might think that's so simple, but you'll be surprised. So many people that are living with their parents, but they live like this double life and act as if like their parents don't exist, right? So I went to the nail shop like I typically do. My mom was like, can you run a Walmart for me? At first, I was about to say, like, that was not my plan today. But I was like, you know what? Yes. She tried to give me the money for what she needed. I was like, nope, I have it, right? Only because this will decrease the argument in the long run. Not saying I deserve a cookie for being a great child, but I'm just saying it will decrease the arguments if you just do something like once a month. So small. And then be ahead of the chores. Because your parents are only getting older and slower at this point. Not slower as in like mentally, but like their bodies are moving like turtles. So if anything, if there's dishes, I'll already do it. Trash, I'll already do it. I'm like one step ahead. So what is there to even argue about? And then I will plan my life around the things that I have to do. I'm just saying, try it when you go back home so you don't have to argue as much.
So you're watching that? That makes sense. Something to try, and maybe I'll try it out because, man, things have been getting hard. Not gonna lie to you. But let me know in the comments, have you tried this?
I cannot believe we are having this conversation again. Before my 30th birthday, should I move back in with family or stay in this home, stay in this apartment until August of 2025 and just thug it out? I could laugh. I just cannot believe my life. I'm not going to go into great detail because if you know, you know. We just went through this last year during my season of sacrifice. If you haven't seen that, I'd definitely go watch it. But y'all already know I had hit rock bottom for the millionth time in life. I was like, look, I'm moving back in with family, starting all over, and I'm trying to do better financially. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of being in the cycle. I'm trying to get out of it. Y'all saw me work my ass off. We were working multiple jobs. We were paying down credit cards. We were getting right financially. I was blessed with this apartment. We all saw that. Y'all saw the whole celebration of getting this 2-bedroom apartment. God was doing his big one, okay? We was really like, wow, look at God. Then I lose my job shortly after. And I'm basically back in this predicament. I'm back having to make this decision, and I tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I don't know what to do. So my birthday is in August. I turned 30 in August. This lease ends in August. I can do 2 things, okay? As of right now, y'all already know, no job, living off unemployment and food stamps. Haven't been able to land a job. Y'all also know I am pursuing my entrepreneurship journey, which has been super exciting, and it's definitely growing, which I love. So I'm gonna do this on the side regardless. I'm always gonna do social media on the side. Whether I have a full-time job or not, social media, I've always done it and will always do it. That's something that I do for a hobby, I do for fun. I'm never gonna not do that, okay? So am I super fortunate enough that I'm able to make extra streams of income based on my social media? Yes. But it is nowhere near being able to sustain me. Now, would I like it to? Yes. That is a process that I enjoy doing on God's timing. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to rush the process. We're having fun, and yes, there's money generating, but it's not enough to sustain. As time goes on and as things change, yes, of course I can generate so much money. Once I get my YouTube finally monetized, once my bookings increase, once I actually start the businesses I want to build, start my podcast, and actually securing brand deals, like big ones, yes, right? So we love that. We love that vision. We're going to work towards that regardless. But this timing is where it's getting a little, I don't know. My 60-day notice will have to happen in June. Okay, so by June, I need to let my apartment complex know, am I staying or am I leaving? If I make the decision to stay, I can renew here and be here and have this space until August 2025 because I don't have to reapply. There would be no rent increase. That's good because let's say by August I still am not employed. Like there's no way I'd be able to get approved anywhere. So I'd be SOL anyway. But who knows? Things could pick up. I could find a job and I could still sustain living here and again be able to renew without having to worry about reapplying. Now, of course, I want to stay here. Like I said, we just celebrated. We thought this time last year, like last summer, we thought this was it. We thought we were finally finding security in our life. Like this was a huge deal for us last year. I only got this space, me and my son, to have a 2-bedroom, able to stay in the same school, and I was getting by. We were good. I can't get by with unemployment. I just can't. As a grown adult, especially with the kid, regardless, I need stability and I need financial security. And I don't just want financial security. Y'all know this. I'm trying to create generational wealth, okay? I have a generation that is live in the flesh that I'm trying to create wealth for. It's just such a huge gap, right? I'm out here 30 years old, my son's 7, living off the government, and somehow I'm trying to bridge this huge gap, trying to become like a multi-millionaire and all this money, and again, create that generational wealth. And it's just me, I'm just one person. So I'm trying to get out of this cycle. I'm break free from survival mode long term. And if I do move back in with family, I'd be there for like at least a year, like maybe a couple years. It would not be a quick thing like it has been. But no, like I said, I could thug it out while I'm here. I could renew and just keep working, keep fighting, keep looking for jobs, keep doing my stuff on the side, and just keep going. Or I could do the same thing, but have the security of like living at home, but that would just come with another move, that with another adjustment, that would just, everyone knows the pros and cons of living by yourself, having the independence, having that freedom, and then just moving in with anybody, whether it's family or a roommate or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm gonna give it to God, right? And we're gonna talk about it. But I'm so curious to see what y'all think. What do y'all think I should do? Because I can't believe we are here again. And I'm just trying to get my life right.
See, another victim that has chosen to move back in with their family to try to save money, because they're learning that living in an apartment isn't a house. It ain't a house if you don't own it. So if you don't own it, you're just renting. They can kick you out at any day, anything you violated, and then what?
How much you pay for your rent does not fucking impress me. Some of y'all be around here bragging that my rent is $2,000, so you pay $2,500 a month for rent. Why? Did you guys know that rent should only be 30% of your gross income every month? That means if you're making $4,000 a month, that means your rent should only be $1,200 fucking dollars. It's okay to want to live in a better neighborhood, but at what price or what expense are you willing to pay for that? Some of y'all too bougie and don't want to live in the hood until y'all get y'all shit together. Y'all want to go straight to fucking bougie town. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. And then after you get to that big ass house or you get that big ass apartment, then you realize you ain't got no money left for the month to even enjoy yourself. Some of y'all got all that space in y'all crib and ain't even got no furniture in it. Y'all just happy y'all got a big ass house. House so empty, y'all yodeling, y'all can hear the motherfucking echo coming from side to side. Yodelay, yodelay, yo. Y'all need to go somewhere where rent is significantly cheaper. It's more than okay to downsize temporarily until you get back on your feet to where you need to be.
See, that's a fact though. Literally, you just gotta take yourself and put yourself at a lower level. Don't try to live to the highest means and then expect to live the best.
I'm 28 years old and I just moved back in with my mom and dad in their house. So I'm going to tell you guys why and talk on going backwards in your 20s. Some might ask, why did you move back after living on your own for 5 years and having a nice 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment to live in a little room that you do not fit in? Society definitely puts time limits and expectations on people that I don't believe in anymore. I did for a long time, and I feel like that's why I stayed living out on my own, because I felt like it would be going against everything to move back in with my parents. I also felt like it was going to make me look less accomplished if I said I lived out on my own for so long to just go back to my parents' house. But if I listened to the world's rules, then I would already be married right now with kids. That's not happening. I feel like this world pushes that you're less of a person if you don't do the steps that they tell you to do, and that is completely false. I think if we all took the pressure off of what you had to be by a certain age, we would all be less stressed and more at peace and more happy. When I tell y'all, I have not been this happy in such a long time by just listening to myself and God. not listening to whatever the world says I need to be. Everyone has their own timelines. Everyone has their own lifespans. They're not designed to be the same. We're comparing ourselves to everyone else. So unrealistic to compare yourself to people who have bought houses at such young ages in the past, because the past is not the present. My parents bought their house for $150,000. Today, their house is going for $600,000. I personally can't afford to have my own house right now, so I might as well live in my parents and help my family. I'm looking at this like a slingshot. I'm taking myself backwards to launch myself forward, and just by living here for the few months that I have, I've already saved thousands of dollars. I'm finally going to tell you guys though why I moved back in and what had happened that led me to this point. I know you guys have asked and I've avoided, so I'll tell you now. As you guys know, I lived in a garage apartment and I moved into it in February of 2023, which means my lease was officially up February 2024. I felt so strongly when it was time to re-sign my lease that God told me, do not do that. I have better for you. Trust me. Did I trust him? No, hand me those papers, girl. We're signing. Yeah, I went against him and I signed another 6 months. Mental health at that point was already on the floor. So I don't think staying alone and being by myself 24/7 helped that at all. It didn't. There would be days, 24-hour span, where I wouldn't even open my mouth to talk. The way that I just watched myself declining that whole time because I was too stubborn. There is no such thing as going backwards, because every single day you are evolving with age. Being in an apartment all day and not seeing life because I couldn't afford to was just hurting me. I feel like things had to get really bad in order for me to realize what was best for me. But also I did mention I woke up in the middle of the night and I left my apartment and I haven't been back since. Something terrifying did happen multiple times in my old apartment. Thankful that they did, because if it didn't happen that way, then I would still be stuck there. And I was still stuck in contract, so I was paying on my apartment's rent and I had to pay rent here. It's just my morals and my respect. Chose to pay rent here because I'm not gonna take up somebody's space and not give them anything. My grandma had just passed away as well in June, and I felt like this was the perfect time for me to ground myself again with my family. Plus, you guys don't understand like how nice it's been that if I want to have a conversation, I have 5 individuals living with me. And if I'm feeling bored, my family and I were like this. So I just get to go sit on their bed and hang out with them. I literally feel like I'm a kid again. Home cooked meals, have to be home by a certain time so my parents don't freak out. And we're collecting plushies. If you have been struggling or going back and forth and trying to figure out what the right choices are for you, pray about it. Ask God to show you. Ask yourself and stop listening to everybody else. Only you know yourself and the right choices for yourself. So excited to be back and to show you guys my crazy family. I'm gonna do so much more videos with them because I actually live here. I'm also going to do a bunch of videos on like the transitioning phase from living on your own to moving back home. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I missed you guys and I can't wait to post again. If y'all stayed this long, leave a heart in the chat so I can go spam your page. Love you guys.
See, watching her, I don't know why they do these videos doing their makeup when they don't need all that makeup. I don't know why they're changing their face. But to be honest, it looks like she just doesn't have good management on bills. Like, her bills is terrible, it seems. But let me know in the comments, is she speaking facts or what?
Life has been a bit awkward for me in the past year, I must admit. A lot has went on, like a lot. So for starters, I got fired from my job. I need to stop saying that I got fired. I got laid off with everybody else from this job. And what really pissed me off about it was I was living in LA before I was working at this job. This job scouted me out personally, moved me to Nashville. And when I was in LA, I was really killing it. I was really doing my thing. I was working with a lot of artists, doing creative direction, creative marketing, consulting for, and I think that's how a lot of you all know me, from working with Summer Walker and stuff like that. So they seen that and they was like, oh, we need this girl, we need, you know. So they flew me out to Nashville. I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with what I thought the job was going to be, and I moved to Nashville and worked in Nashville, and then got laid off. Bummer. So after I got laid off, I was just like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Like, I wasn't really saving my money as much as I should have been. I was definitely like splurging, and I also started my interview series, KB For Real, and that takes money to produce. So I spent a lot of money on that. And you know, I had the high-rise apartment, you know, all that and all that. So I was talking to my mom and she was just like, girl, you need to move home. So I decided to move home. My parents came out there and they like helped me move, but that was a lot of money, and that was like a lot of like, that was a lot on them. So now I'm back home living in my parents' house. So I told y'all that I have a show called KB For Real and it takes money to produce. So I need a 9-to-5 job to fund my lifestyle and fund the show. So I got a regular 9-to-5 because one thing about me, I'm gonna get some money. But this 9-to-5 job is like a 9-to-5 from hell. And it's sad because it's like a really easy job. And then now like everybody at the job be like surveilling me because one day they all found like my Instagram and TikTok and it was like, oh, this girl's famous, like what is she doing here? So now they just be acting like weird, or every time I take leave they be trying to put 2 and 2 together, like, oh, she took leave on Tuesday and then on Wednesday she posted a Duke Dennis interview. Did she take leave to go interview? It's just like, stop it, it's my leave. So that's like a bit awkward, and like the people that know, like they haven't like flat out told me, but word gets back to me that they know, and they be, you know, on my Instagram keeping up like the Kardashians with my shit. And it's so awkward because it's like, yeah, yo, like what am I doing here? Like I don't know. I want to move to New York. I hope God makes something shake for me soon. I want to get back to myself. Like I feel like myself, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like I haven't been doing as much as I normally would. I know I was on live yesterday and a lot of you all were saying like, oh, we missed like the music takes, we missed like the day in a life content, as day in a life as a creative director, and I used to see me on all of like these music video sets. I kind of just took like a pause to all of that because I'm not doing that as much because I'm in DC. This video doesn't really have like a call to action. I just wanted to share, update you all in my life. Hopefully God makes something shake soon. Hopefully my show pops off so I can quit this job. Hopefully, you know, like I will be able to afford to move to New York with still being able to afford my show, afford my lifestyle, you know, like, because I feel like me at 19 years old, I would have moved to New York and just, you know, thugged it out. But when you get in your later 20s, it's like you have other things and other factors, you know, like to consider. So I want to make sure I move like smartly, like not moving and you be out there just struggling just to say that you're out there, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Also been applying for like so many music jobs, and it's insane. It's just like, it's a recession. It's so insane how many jobs I don't get that I'm actually overqualified for. But that's a sign in itself that God got something bigger in store. So I just have to trust the process, and the results have been paying off. Like KB For Real is doing amazing. Shout out to my team who helped me with KB For Real. So I have nothing to complain about there, but like I just hope that it like goes up. Like it's one thing to have a viral video, but it's one thing for like to have consistent, you know, like to really be consistent with the shit and like have your whole life change. I'm ready for my life to change in the best way possible, and that's all that I have to say. I don't know what I'm expecting from this video, but bye.
See, this is another individual, like I said, they're pursuing social media, but they don't have a good budget, which makes it worse. It just makes it harder for you. And then you got people like this guy that don't know how to do their job.
Moving back in with your parents in your 20s or your 30s, pros and cons. Let's talk about it. My name is Paige and I am 32 years old. And after living abroad for a few years, I returned back home to the US and moved in with my parents nearly a year ago now. I'm preparing to move out into my first solo place in less than 3 months. So I thought that I would make this little series to talk about the pros and cons of moving back home, because I know it's been a big discussion. People just seem to love to debate whether it's okay for someone in their 20s or 30s to move back home with their parents. I'll never understand, but let's talk about the pros and the cons. Pro number 1, and I'm sure the most obvious, is the financial relief. By not having to pay rent or mortgage, you can save money, you can pay off debt, and build up your savings. I am so grateful for my parents. Like, I honestly could never say that enough. They are amazing, and they've never felt like once I got to a certain age they couldn't support me anymore. They couldn't help me. Like, as long as I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do to get ahead and to succeed, they're going to support me and back me and help me in whatever way that they can. One of those major ways has been allowing me to live in their home rent-free so that I can build up my savings. They have allowed me to do this twice now in my life. After I graduated from undergrad, I moved back home and I lived home for a few years while I was working a pretty low-paying job at the time. And then I made the big decision to move abroad to London. Lived over there for a few years, was doing full-time content creation, was self-employed when I decided that I was ready to return home and apply for corporate jobs. I was fortunately blessed with an amazing job and I decided to stay and build up my savings. That has been my number one goal. I have been saving so aggressively since October because I knew that my goal was to move out into my own place and live alone for the first time ever. And not only did I want to live alone, but I wanted to live downtown Chicago. So that was a big goal of mine. And I knew that I wanted to have a good, cushy savings, you know, to feel comfortable doing that. And it's so easy to, you know, have this break of not paying rent, of living with your parents, and you take advantage of that and you just spend your money on shopping sprees, trips, vacations. I was really tunnel vision, y'all, when it came to this because I knew what the goal was and I had my eyes on the prize. Did I treat myself sometimes? Of course. I wasn't paying expensive London rent anymore, but I always hit my savings goal every single month. So now, because of my amazing parents and my dedication, I am going to be able to move out very soon. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, so let's talk about the con. Moving back in with your parents, moving back in with your family can lead to the perceived feeling of a loss of independence or autonomy. And this could be really challenging for someone who has experience, you know, living outside of the family home. My parents are amazing, and I'm gonna keep saying this because I know my mom's gonna watch this. My parents don't really bother me too much, but at the end of the day, I am in their home and their rules are always gonna apply. If they don't want something to be on the kitchen counter in that spot, it needs to be moved. If they want to have company over and laugh loudly downstairs while I'm trying to sleep, they can do that. Sometimes you just want to go in the kitchen and make your lunch in silence and not have anyone talk to you. This is their home. This is their space. Of course, they make it feel just as much my home as well, but essentially, I'm a temporary guest. And it hasn't been a super huge issue. My parents have their own life, their own activities. Like, they're not even here right now. But there have been moments where I felt like, wow, like, I don't really have anything that is mine, you know, besides my clothes. And my car, which I'm so happy I was able to get that as well, because when I first returned, my mom and I were sharing, and that wasn't working either. So it has been challenging at times where I don't have full control over the space. That is something that I am really looking forward to when moving out. Thinking about moving back home with your parents? Make sure you follow and stick around for part 2.
And just from seeing that at the very end, man, this tells you, man, a lot of us young people, even older people, gotta live with their parents. I've known a car washer that was a salesman, and he was making pretty good money. He always bragged, but he had the wrong priorities, which is drugs, and he's a 50-year-old living with his parents. But the fact of it is, a lot of us is living with our parents, and whether you're old or young, things is getting harder. And I commend y'all that got parents alive. Y'all stay safe, man. Thank you.